of your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite, I stop from fight. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite, I stop from fight. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Listen, Africa is my responsibility to see my people living up in love and unity. Marcus Garvey said this is the words of prophecy. Black people full of love, so there's a possibility. Amongst Africans we don't want no brutality. So the killing what I want South Africa have to flee. Build more schools like down the jail facilities. I set me royal African free. Alright then, boom. Africa unite, I stop from fight. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite, I stop from fight. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right?
Yes. Thanks for life. Friday. Ghana. 7 a.m. It's rising up here in the rooster's crow. Tomorrow's the last day up in Ghana's here. Man makes man's journey to Uganda. Yeah, I just want to make this voice log note. Prophet Brian here, otherwise known as Ross I Am. Black Star Movements Association. Back to Africa with a practical approach, step by step. With the Black Conscious Chat Initiative, bringing black folks together for the purpose of dialogue. Those who care, want to share, and build a unity. Unity requires separation. Conscious, like-minded people coming together to do a good and to move forward, to take leadership and live an exemplary life in terms of setting our best foot forward in regards to an African initiative and get out of the Western world. Repatriation is a must. Likewise, reparation is needed so we could set a foundation in our ancient but new home, which is our ancient home, Africa. wherever that might be. Equipment, food, clothes, shelter, and education, various facilities, so we could develop ourselves to our comfort, so we could also advance. Africa so far is great, as you know, various lands, mass, land upon land, with Ghana here, lots of food everywhere, from the city, central Accra, eastern region, all the way up to Kumasi. It's just lots of planting trees, coconut, there's lots of yams, tomatoes, various food, vegetation, animal, livestock as well, and the people are healthy and strong. That said, the mentality, just like with the rest of the world, Western world, Caribbean, etc., it's one and the same with black people. The focus seems to still just be the belly and, just a little finer things in life, which nothing is wrong with that, but man cannot live by bread alone. The lack of realization and push towards a unity with a nationalist, pan-Africanist, and race initiative is lacking within black people. While the white man, Chinese, are united as a race and taking the lead, with their production and development based on having some sort of propaganda or push for their nations, the black nation is somewhat of a scattered, disorganized, just, individualism. Everybody's on their own agenda, which the only goal to accomplish is just wants out of the earth. There is no collective unity towards a bigger goal, a greater civilization for us all. And it just becomes a kind of a caste system of different class, have-nots, financially stable versus poor, and it's greed and corruption at the top, government, politics, it, neocolonialism, and those who have skills in those ways are doing what they can to take and make their life however they want it, while the poor is scavenging and corrupt just as well, envying the rich because they want the same thing to do the same thing. And with all this wealth around, more than enough, it's not even really that necessary. So it's a big ignorance in the abundance of everything: food, clothes, shelter, water. Our people are suffering because of greed, envy, and all of the other demonic demons that attach to the spirit and the soul to make us really poor. Poverty, there's financial poverty, and there's mental poverty. Today, the black race, we suffer from mental poverty. The lack of seeing deeper than just what's in front of us with our two eyes, but using our third eye of consciousness to bring about solutions to resolve our issues. And our issues is a result of a lack of connection to ourselves, earth, and God, a lack of proper communication, a lack of cooperation, and just looking in our hearts to see what's best, not just for ourselves, our children, our family, but the whole black family as a collective. Everybody's having their dinner at night, everybody got a roof over their head. The basic elements of life, food, clothes, and shelter, is guaranteed to all. While that is a long and big scope, and that's not going to be provided to everybody all at once, you can make it a goal and an initiative to set something in place that will eventually bring about that sort of social system and construct that will provide for all. Because even in the Western world, that is not even being met today based on their approach to industrialization and whatnot. But just something with African people, black people around the world, Caribbean, it's just the sense of just not really giving a crap about anything other than their bellies. If I could get a nice house, nice car over my brother, boast, drive, eat, show off, and that is it. No more pyramids being built, no more coming together to create something greater than each of us, as a result of it's from the sum of us, which is a total of us. And that is what's lacking in making our nation and race greater again. Individualism, tribalism, and a lot of spookism is with that as well. Many gods. You have sea god, a lot of so-called witchcraft sort of scenario. Even when I went on the beach there, a fellow was telling me some of the things that I seen, some sort of wrapped up things on the beach, was people working magic, either doing it to somebody or something, where they would wrap up something and throw it to the sea, so that way they could get control over the mind of some individual that they choose, some sort of witchcraft thing. And it was like, wow, all of those things. So I don't have the footage of it, but those things were meant for witchcraft. There's people giving offerings by rivers to sea gods, various things you can hear about. And there's a church on every corner. During my time at the coast, when they spoke of the Cape and the castle being erected and the slaves being caught, it was coincided with church going up. Anglican church, Catholic, various churches going up, Dutch and Portuguese as a result. And even while they had a church service or a church area on the castle as well, the tour guide for the castle was telling us that, yeah, just like in the Western world slavery, while the church was in session going on and people praising and give praise to Jesus and God and all of that, slaves were being murdered underneath. 20 black peoples being sardine canned into cramped spaces of the dungeons, maybe even like a 5x7, 5x9 size area is containing like 20 people. I don't have to mention the humidity with that. After going in those rooms, within 2 minutes you're sweating profusely as a result of the humidity, much less 20 people at once and locked in there for weeks, months, who knows how long. It's just going to be result in death of those our ancestors. But yeah, church on every corner. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you can kind of hear something in the background now. Not sure if it's the news or not, but the nicest buildings you'll see, you'll be, wow, look at that building, what's that? Then all of a sudden you see a cross. Wow, look at that building, looks like a nice big structure. Then you see some Jesus is coming. So the church happened to have a vast amount of real estate. I could imagine if those were used for a clinic or some sort of education purpose, something, nursing, it would make a big difference. But these churches are just set up everywhere, not to do as much charity work, but to preach their gospel and to basically control the people, taking offerings as usual. The poor people have nothing but blah, blah, blah. If you believe in this, that, we're going to give you protection. We're going to make blessing come to you. And the people desperate for some sort of change that doesn't require them necessarily changing as much mentally, other than giving their soul and their whole psyche over to a foreign god. It's basically just, you could do a thing, just pay a quick money and you could get those blessings and those protection. And when those don't work, you could go back to the traditional spookism of the tribal gods as well, where you basically make offerings for protection, for love and whatnot. It's just ridiculous, black folks. The disconnect from nature, God, ourselves, and what we result to lean to basically cope with the reality we're facing, instead of facing the reality head on with a conscious mind, with love in our hearts, and the drive and desire and ambition to do better. Those are the things that's gonna make us strong. Those are the things that's gonna last. Those are the things that's gonna give us a tangible and worthy results, versus the hoping and the dreaming and the blind faith in and the magic and the this, that. We know that voodoo comes from a practice of science, which is medicinal herbs, herbal doctors or whatnot, the kind of evil twist to these things, witch doctor, you know, that's trying to be spiritual leaders, is not doing anything for a people. Not much different than the chiefs, big belly chiefs, claiming power and taking up the land, you know, and doing what they will with it, which is not much. Very just holding on to the land holders. I'm not saying it's black people, so we should be the landholders, but within the modern age of the world around us, we don't have to develop the same way as the Western world, but we do have to develop as a defense, to match weapon for weapon, technology for technology, anything the white world would try to bring upon us. We might not want any sort of war or conflict, but that doesn't negate or stop the fact that not everybody might feel like that. We don't share the same culture and tradition, being different races. So that how we feel is not going to stop them from wanting to do what they want, and it's usually ill or something oppressive to our people. So we have to have a culture of not just food, but defense, our own technology that combat and defense against any form of weapon. It could be nuclear bomb, laser, harp, any form of weapon conceived against us as black Africans. We should have something in the works, or prototype, or finish, or working on that to basically counter and neutralize any sort of weapons. That is the power of a nation. It doesn't matter how much truth, love, and rights a person want to bring up and talk about. If you can't defend your race, defend your cause, defend your people with force, intimidation, something to deter the enemy, then it's just wishful thinking and naiveness to think that another race that has nothing to do with us is going to have the power and the means and see the wealth that we have in breadbasket of goods that is Africa, and not come to colonize, not come to steal, rob, and basically take us people, livestock, minerals, whatever they can, whatever they want, as a result of their having their power and their force, So now we're not in the times of mere tribes anymore. We're in the times of nation races, with big influence, big weapons, big gun, big economy. And this is what we're faced with as a race. And so far we're taking a beating. We're just surviving. We're not on top of the ball. We're not in control. We just have our own lives, and it's basically what we choose to do with that life. Either we run the individual course and just worry about our own little roof over our head and our own little food, and that's it, and leave our children to a perpetual slave race, oppressive race, inferior race model, or we unite, which is the greatest power we have, which is numbers, on a continent that's already known as black, and just set up a central intelligence network of conscious black people and work towards these things that we're lacking. And eventually, if we do that, eventually in time, it will filter down to the rest of black people and do away with the ignorance, because the proof would be in the results. Centralize, protect ourselves, and do what we can, because we could only do so much. But we do it big, strong, exemplary enough. It's just a matter of time before common sense and supremacy takes over, and Africans will follow suit. It's one thing if nothing is being done, but once something is being done meaningful and it actually works, it's easier for word to catch on and people follow suit versus just talking about it, wishing for it. You know, a lot of people don't learn that way. You know, you have the street smart, you have the book smart. A lot of people, especially poor people, they learn by example. They learn by what they see. They copy and emulate what they recognize is working, what saves them time, money, cheaper to have. So we need something meaningful with a certain amount of people manifesting that, you know, and then have it open for those who are willing, eager, and have the desire. They could take part and share in those concepts and notions and state of minds. That's going to help bring about Africa's true freedom, true justice, and break the bands of mental slavery, the shackles and chain of religion, and uproot these things, Islam and Christianity, out of the psyche of black people, these foreign religions. Yes, Ethiopia have an old version of Christianity, but Christianity nonetheless. And it's the white world that coined and termed this slang. You know, the scriptures say they first called Christians in Antioch, but it wasn't by themselves, the Israelite, it was by people who saw them, and it was kind of like a nickname sort of thing. But it was Constantine who formally, as a Roman nation, you know, made Christianity what it is and went forth conquering in that slang name that today became a formal name and became the formal religion of Christianity. And when they do that, various nations went around and adopted, whether by force or by free will, you know, including Ethiopia. So we know the root of what Christianity is coming from. And yeah, even the Christ is not a Christian. So these are just some of the realities that a lot of religious people don't face. And it's what have us in a bind, because a lot of blind faith. You have people talking about Islam is from this and Islam is from how long. Islam was formally created in the 7th century, which is about mid 650, 40, 30 BC, or pardon me, AD. In the AD, the after days. So outside of Muhammad, you know, there was no Islam, or nothing more formally known as Islam. So a lot of people's trying to talk and make things grander than it seems to big up what they're associated with, you know. But the formal religion of Islam rose with Muhammad, and that's what it is. And just like Christianity, it came, it conquered, and it subjugated the people to a mindset, you know. And that's all fine and dandy if Arabs, slave owners, accepted that, still didn't practice it, same way the Christian, Roman, white Europeans didn't practice a concept that suggested truth and love, maybe to their own people, but they hated everybody else. They want to enslave and conquer off everybody else. Black people today, with the 3rd century AD, probably even before, from the 7th century, being influenced by Christianity, and it heightened in the 15th, 14th, 16th century. These centuries where Europeans made more contact with Africa in the later days, but this time they have musket guns, liquors, and various things as bribes to trade with us and, you know, make touchdown on the coast. And from there, there everything just changed for the black world in a major way. What they couldn't do by bribery and deceit, they did by force with musket gun. And when that wasn't going fast or hard enough or big enough, they just add the religion on there, basically to destroy the mind of what it is to be black. And today we suffer from the symptoms of black Muslim, black Christians, lacking spirituality, lacking connection to each other, but subscribing to something that is foreign and having the most pride with that. More pride in being Christian and Islam than being black and African, if they even consider themselves that. You know, even when they're born in Africa, they subscribe to these religions and disconnect from the reality that's right in front of them, from their own family, friends that is right in front of them. And it's a shame, you know. You make the journey to Africa here, and a lot of the rhetoric that we have in the West that we're united under now, the red, black, and green, and the Pan-African and the Black Unite, unfortunately to say, a lot of Africans do not share in that mindset and narrative, you know. While some could agree with what the white man did, they could agree that sufferation is a reality and poverty, and they want better. Their course or discourse that they take is one of, what can we do? It's too late. It is what it is, you know? And they just want to go about, once again, their food and their little big house and still look for Babylon's vanity. They don't have enough love in their hearts for their brothers and sisters to form a new path to bring about our freedom and redemption. But they have enough to still forgive the white man, go to his church and his mosque, the Arabs man's, you know, lust after his goods and services, and work with the white man with all of the genocide and the atrocities that they commit against the black race. When it comes to their black brothers and sisters under the same oppression, under the same suffering and injustice, they don't have a heart, you know, to put away our petty differences and formulate something, unite together, formulate something that's going to be of benefit to their children, my children, your children, our children, for the future of the black race. And that is what's disheartening. While you're here, it's great, hot weather for the melanin, some food, and it's all good. But then once you eat, drink, you know, maybe party a little, go to the beach or whatnot, what are we doing? Where are we going as a people? Where is the mind at? Where is the connection? And yes, you might have some pockets of people based off tribal linguistics, that sort of thing. They have that kind of, you know, coming from the same background. But that's not enough. It's not a strong enough connection. And that's still individual tribes versus recognizing the need for a black unity. You know? I could just vision being here full time, and once the money runs low or dry, or if you don't have something set up, and even if you do, it's still gonna be remaining a bit of emptiness. Not an emptiness for money, not an emptiness for gold or anything like that. Just the emptiness of like-mindedness towards the same goal, the same mindset. You know, it's gonna be one of, I'm doing this for myself. Hey, good morning to you. See you later. Hey, what's going on? And then gone back to my tribe. Just that disconnect, and it's not a good feeling. You know, great to be home in Africa and everything, but if we don't have a people to unite,
Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know say that is not right? Africa unite. I stop from far. You're You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know, say that is not right. Listen, get to youth, you need to know Emmanuel. The black Christ of salvation up as I need well. Heads of government, the people, them are gonna rebel to the system where you create of us living in hell. Time ago come, you cannot buy nor sell. Babylon is falling, yo, the time can tell. Africa unite, come make we break them spell. Bless us, Jesus Emmanuel. Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Africa unite. I stop from far.
Black Star Movement,
You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know, say that is not right. Africa unite. I stop from far. You're killing off your brothers and your sisters. Don't you know, say that is not right.
Voila. Off a cliff. That's it. Beautiful scenery, you know? Whole lot of things. Giving thanks for life. Blessed.